Well, I'm here with the Thomas Gabriel. Now, for people who don't know you, Thomas, I know that family is important and grandparents are important, but you've got one special grandparent. You are the grandson of Mr. Johnny Cash.
That's right. I am.
And I have to say, I know you've probably heard it 1,000 times, but the very first time I heard your voice is very, very similar. Such a great voice.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're a
Thank
great
you.
vocalist, great guitarist. And how have you been coping down in lockdown? You've been doing okay?
Yeah. Well, this year is it's been interesting. That's for sure.
Well, that's a great word. Yeah, it's definitely been interesting. Now, being the grandson of Johnny Cash, bit like myself, I actually grew up listening to Johnny Cash music because my father is a massive fan. So was like, what kind of music? What kind of music do you actually love? What kind of music is your music influence apart from your grandfather? Your musical influences?
I've always listened to metal. I remember when I was young. My uncle was 3 years older than me, John Carter, and he was always listening to heavy metal and all. So when I was first or second grade, I remember we were on the road, and I don't remember what I was listening to, but I had the old Walkmans, and and he was kind of giving me a hard time about what I was listening to, and I have no idea what that was. But I remember for the first time he put his headphones on me, and it was actually an Ozzy Osbourne Blizzard of Oz.
Right, okay.
And it was that introduction of when I Don't Know comes on, and from that point forward, and like I said, it was about second grade, I guess. It was metal all the way, and that's
a great album, by the way. Blizzard of Oz is a great album.
Yeah, it's a great album. So I've always been into metal, and actually played metal for a long time. Been in a couple of metal bands and all that. But when it comes to my writing and performing and all, what actually comes natural to me, and I've tried to fight that and kind of go with what I'm interested in listening to, but what comes naturally out of me is not really a metal thing. I do have kind of a metal project on the side going on right now, but
excellent.
That's not a full-time thing. Obviously, it's just on the side.
Yeah. Now Johnny Cash had the Scottish connection. I think some of his descendants were from Scotland. So have you visited Scotland? Have you been over here yet?
I have not yet. I think we are coming to Scotland in the latter part of this year.
All right, okay, we'll look out for that one then, and hopefully even next year, hopefully could do play Bonfest for us. That would be awesome.
I would love that. Yeah.
Now I was reading something about the Folsom Prison. When your grandfather had played there, you actually went to Folsom Prison and played. Is that right?
That's right. In 2018, we went and played. Played in walls of Folsom Prison. Played two shows actually, two different parts of the prison inside the walls, and it went really well. It was phenomenal. It was more. It was kind of it was like a dream, really, because. And I mean, being lucid like that, it was like
that must be amazing. I mean,
going from hearing Folsom forever, all my life since I was born.
Yeah.
And, hearing it over and over and basically just being a song for me, as you grow up, you realize what it's about and all that. But to really put it in perspective, being there and being in front of Folsom prisoners in Folsom Prison singing Folsom Prison,
this is maybe a silly question, but was there anyone that saw your grandfather Johnny Cash that was still there, or everybody passed? One person.
One guy. He had been
a prisoner or a worker.
He had been there. He was 18. He had been there for 2 months when my grandfather came through, and he was in the second show we did, and he was sitting front row, front and center. And I went to introduce myself, and I said, I got about as far as, "Hi, my name is," or whatever I said. And he stopped me and he said, "We know who you are." He's like, "But," he said, "we'll let you know if you're any good," And so as I played, and this guy starts getting into it, and then everybody else is watching him, it was phenomenal. It was really great.
What an amazing story. I mean, how did it feel to be in there? That's mind blowing.
Well, I've been in prison twice myself.
Yes, I did read that. Yes, I did read that. You were an ex police officer as well.
Yeah, I was a police officer for 8 years in Nashville, and then was in prison for right at 10 years total. And so I've seen both sides of the spectrum, But going into it, I kind of knew what to expect. Which doesn't make it any easier, especially when you're going into it in a totally different, going in performing for these prisoners, was something that I wasn't obviously used to.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
You're better performing in prison rather than being in prison, I would think.
Right. Yeah.
It's really weird chatting to you. I was actually, my mother was watching an episode of Columbo the other night, and Johnny Cash was in it, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I was just. So, have you ever done any acting, or would you like to do any acting?
I would love to. I did actually do some acting as a kid, as a child. I was, 10 or 11 years old or so. I've done some very little things, but as an adult, I haven't, and I would love to. I'd love to get back into that. That's part of the arts that I've always been interested in. I just haven't really had the opportunity.
Now, I know you do mainly country, and obviously your grandfather Johnny Cash did country, but I remember hearing a track by 9 Inch Nails, and your grandfather covered it. So did your grandfather have a love of rock music?
He did, actually. And people don't realize that, he wasn't, he wasn't really country anyway. He was more of a folk. He would, the way he described himself was folk, and he was more about just his portrayal, his personal portrayal of truth. I mean, and that's what he was all about. So it wasn't really like he straddled genres, and even I don't really fit into a category, I don't think. But the thing about it is, like, people don't realize, I mean, he was really good friends with Ozzy Osbourne. He was I remember as a kid going backstage to Ozzy concerts and meeting him, and they were, they talked on the phone. I mean, that type thing, quite regularly. He was good friends with, Glenn Danzig. I remember one Christmas, Anthony Kiedis spent Christmas with him, I mean, things like that. Tom Petty, I mean, everything from Elvis Costello, from kind of a lighter rock all the way to Danzig
so growing up, you had listened to various music. Did you ever get to were you old enough when your grandfather was still alive to maybe play in his recording studio? Did he get a chance to hear you?
Yes, actually. I was, he passed in 2003, and I was actually 30. But his studio, he gave me kind of free range as long as it wasn't being used, and as long as I took care of it. And back then it was tape, it was analog. It was DAT and ADAT. But he gave me, he said, go in there and do what you want to do. I told him that I'd had a band together and all this. And about 1994, I'd gone in and made an EP, about 6 or 7 songs, and they were good. They were really good. Yeah. To this day, I was still really proud of it. But I took it to him, and he thought the same. We sat down and talked about it, and he said, it is really good. It does need some work. He gave me constructive criticism. Yeah,
good. Yeah, like a grandfather would.
Which I needed and wanted and all that. But he was very supportive, but he was also like, I was young, and at the time I also had substance abuse problems, at a young age, very young age. And I think that was kind of for him, it was a way of kind of protecting me from the elements of the business by saying, until you get some schooling behind you or get sorry, that's my dog. My dog's upset that he's not in the room.
You're fine.
So, until you get some, a background,
like a
backup plan. So he wanted me to go become an officer, and I did that.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It ended abruptly, but yeah, you know, so he was very supportive, and I did get some recordings out of it, and yeah, he was.
So did your grandfather hear the similarity in your voice? Because I mean, I hear it. I really hear the similarity in your voice.
Yeah, he said that. I think his exact words were, "It does remind me of a bit of my younger voice, and with that, you should work on it."
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got no, apart from Johnny Cash, you've got. I think one of your aunties, she's a country singer. Your mother Kathy's sister, she's a country singer as well. In her own way.
Right.
You're
I've got a whole
basically
family.
you've been surrounded by music all your life.
All
Now,
my life.
let's get to the talk of ACDC. I believe you're a massive fan of ACDC. I assume you've saw them. Have you saw them live?
I have. I've seen them. I think 3 times now. Never with Bon Scott.
Right. Okay.
That was kind of before my time, but
yeah, mine too, unfortunately.
Yeah. Right. But I've always been a big fan of both ACDCs, in my opinion. You know, it's 2 different.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You know.
How old were you when you first started listening to ACDC?
Very young, actually. Right around that same time I was telling you about earlier. I had a TNT, the High Voltage.
Yeah.
You know, and remember TNT was a huge song for me, and I had High Voltage, and actually I got them all, and you know there was like Ride On, and
oh, great track, yeah.
You know, Problem Child, and all those. You know, those were like anthems. That was an anthem.
Yeah, I love their songs. Yeah, massive anthems. Yeah.
Yeah.
So listen, as you say, you've never been to Scotland, but hopefully you can come across to Bonfest. That would be so great.
Yeah, can't wait.
I mean, if you had to cover an ACDC song, what would you sing?
I'd probably go with Ride On.
Yeah.
I'd probably go with that.
I could hear you singing that one. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Honestly, you know, the thing about ACDC, and I mean, and Bon Scott's and Brian Johnson's ACDC, is that my voice and either one of theirs is, especially Bon Scott. Bon Scott had that sand in your throat, rock and roll, you know, just hardcore, and it could hit these high notes, and just such a, you know, a master at that. Anytime I have tried, or even sing along with a track, but anytime I've tried, I fail miserably. You know? I mean, that's just one. That's I can't think of a harder band.
Yeah, but you could put your own touch to it. You could put your own Thomas Gabriel touch.
It would have to be. It would have to be. You know,
make it your own. Yeah, make it your own.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm looking at the sign behind you, the Thomas Gabriel sign. Who designed your sign for you? It's lovely.
Actually, the TG part is my logo. I designed that, but I was we had a show in Idaho actually, and a man had made that for me. It weighs about 25 pounds. It's metal. It's full. It's 2 layers of metal is what it is.
It's really smart.
Fantastic. I've got that one, and I've got another one that another guy made me that they're fantastic. They're just heavy metal pieces, and I take them on. I don't take that one on the road. I take another one with me on the road, though.
Like a good luck charm.
Yeah.
Listen, before I let you go, do you have any message for the Bonfest fans?
I wish I could be there. I really wish I could be there.
Don't we all?
You know, I think that's fantastic. You know, somebody that as talented and as a genius frontman as he was. Yeah. I mean, like this guy paved. I mean, Bon Scott literally, you know, trendsetter as far as frontmen go. You know, I think it's fantastic that he's honored every year. That to me is I can't think of anything better. You know,
you'll be amazed when you come to Kirriemuir. You will be amazed the atmosphere of the entire weekend, and you'll be made very, very welcome. I can assure you that. Listen, for people who want to find you, just quickly, if anyone wants to find you, which I'm sure they will, where can they find Thomas Gabriel? Your information for your Facebook and websites.
If you go to thomasgabriel.com, as simple as that. If you go to thomasgabriel.com, and also you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Official pages, and keep up with the touring and the you know, that way
keep an eye out when you come into Scotland.
Go ahead and subscribe. That way you can keep up with where we're going to be, and hopefully we will be in your neck of the woods pretty soon. So
well, Hopefully, yes. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Listen, Thomas, thank you so much for giving me your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me be a small part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You take care.
All right. You too. Thank you.
Life can bring you down. It can make you hurt. Then you open your eyes again. You're on the right side of the dirt. On the right side of the dirt. Alone is forgiving, much more than we deserve. Water drowns, fire will burn. Life's a sentence we all serve. Covers up our damage when the body's had too much. Bring forth our Christian name. It's on the right side of the dirt. 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 Will be ashes, bones turn to dust. Then we meet our Maker, for the gate slammed shut. How do you look yourself in the mirror? How do you say your name? How do you smile looking at your own children when you know you're the one they blame? Life can bring you down. It can make you hurt.